Can you believe we are already nearing the end of the year? It's incredible how fast 2025 has flown by. And I have a special invitation for you because I'm cooking something to close this year on a high note. A free live class happening just before Christmas called 5 Mistakes Even Established Freelance Facilitators Make and How to Avoid Them. It's happening on December 17 at 12 p.m. CET, means Paris time. And it's perfect for you if you're a freelance facilitator, a consultant, or coach who uses facilitation in your work, and you're ready to kickstart 2026 strong by avoiding those mistakes. This is the only thing I wish you for the end of this year. You'll find the registration link in the show notes. And yes, there will be a huge Santa gift, something special related to the next edition of the Facilipreneur Mastermind starting in January. Plus, I'll be joined at this event by some of the amazing guests you'll hear from in today's episode, since in the room, I have 3 brilliant facilitators who each run their solopreneur business, Rosemary, Lucrezia, and Judit, and who completed the Facilipreneur Mastermind this past summer. Each of them brought their expert facilitation magic, and over 3 months, they gave themselves the space to reflect and reset on how they show up in their work and in their business. In today's episode, we are diving into their challenges as a freelance facilitator and the breakthrough that can happen when you finally make time to work on the business and not just in it. Hi, ladies. How are you doing?
Hi.
Hey.
It's so nice to be back with everyone again.
Yes. So good to see you
Yay.
all.
Good to see you.
I've been missing you. I think we saw each other the last time in the same room in August, right?
Yeah, in August.
Yeah.
Since then, Monday mornings have not been the same.
Right, I agree.
True.
True. And at this time, Lucrezia was in an unbelievable space. Where were you in this time?
I was in Greece.
Exactly. And we were all very jealous when you show us what was behind your screen, right?
Yeah, the view. Very inspiring.
And I have the feeling that since then, a few of you have been really, really busy.
Oh my God, it hasn't stopped. For the first time ever, I'm a person who has an organized inbox and an organized WhatsApp. There's never stuff. I have so many unread emails and WhatsApps. I apologize to everyone, but it's also been great because I've had work. People want to hire me. Yay.
Yeah. Before we dive into the topic of this episode, I would love you to briefly introduce yourself and tell us when you've been calling yourself a facilitator and how long you've been working as a freelancer.
So I call myself a coach and a facilitator, and I am freelancing for 10 years, but it changed along the way many, many times. And I think I call myself a facilitator like 3 or 4 years ago. I started.
Okay.
It's funny, isn't it, how it changes? Because initially I never referred to my work as facilitation. I chaired work. I coordinated it. I was the person that led the meetings. I'd say I only called myself a facilitator for maybe 3 years. And I've been freelance for just over a year and a half.
Oh, yes.
Great.
You are new in freelancing, actually.
I'm a newbie.
You're a newbie. And you, Lucrezia?
Yeah. I think I started by chance and without even knowing what a facilitation was. And so I since the beginning of my career, 10 years now as a freelancer, I've been a facilitator without even knowing at first, but discovering this year after year, experience after experience. Yeah, great journey.
And very various experiences. So Judith and Lucrezia, 10 years facilitating. Rosemary, 1.5 years. So let's start with you, Rosemary. Tell me, so far, what is the nice side of being a freelancer? And maybe what is the biggest challenge of going freelance?
So I think the nice side is I work primarily with charities or campaigning organizations, and getting to come in to a whole range of different issues and types of groups and change that they're trying to make. I really love getting to see that. In the past, I've been the campaigner or the advocate that worked on that. And it's really nice to get to see different ways that organizations work and work together to create that change. But I think a real challenge at the same time being freelance and a facilitator is people often expect that workshops or meetings just happen. And it can be hard to get people to understand the amount of preparation and design that needs to go into delivering a great workshop, event, or conference, whatever it is. And I think trying to break that down and if I'm honest, get people to pay for that time can be a real challenge. It's probably been the biggest challenge that it's not just on the day, it's not just showing up, that there's a lot of work, thinking that goes into preparing.
Yeah. And were you aware about that before yourself?
I don't think I really knew how much went into it because a lot of the facilitation I'd done before I went freelance, it was just part of my job. And so I never really thought or broke down how much time was preparation for something or how much was design time and how much was just what I did. And so I can really see why people don't necessarily make those connections. But now I'm starting to draw those links of we'd never expect a campaign to launch without all the preparation and design, thinking about what we want to achieve, how we want it to land, the tone and stuff. And I'm starting to make those connections for folks that it's like anything else we do in campaigning or advocacy. We need to do the preparation to make sure something lands well.
Nice. But the nice part is you love what you do, right?
I do really love it. I really do. I love getting to chat with people. I love getting to help groups go from either a little bit of discord or uncertainty about what's coming to seeing that alignment and people coming out going, wow, like that's so much better than we could have done on our own. Because a lot of it is that I do is bringing together different organizations who are collaborating. So yeah, I do really love it. It's great.
Lucrezia, you are working in a completely different field. You can tell us a little bit about this, and also same question. What is the nicest part of being a freelancer, but also the challenge, even after 10 years of doing this, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Nati, for the question. As I said, I started last year of uni. I started as a freelancer without even knowing exactly what it was. So I never experienced to be an employee or working full time in a company. So I started both working with the private sector and also the cultural networks. And this, I loved it since the beginning because I can see how much of the things I could learn from one sector and then contaminating to the other one and vice versa. I really love this duality of my work. As I always say, at the end of the day, we work for and with human beings. So it doesn't really matter the sector or the context because we really hold and shape the space for people. The best part of this, I think it's the freedom you have to organize and to schedule your own agenda and time. Also, after some years, of course, is also the freedom of choosing the people that you want to work with and the projects that you actually want to follow and to deliver. So this is a huge freedom and a huge gift, I think. At the same time, it is a challenge because it takes a lot of time to build what we call network and also what we call clients, that it is really the human connections that you create with people because you need a lot of time to build the relationship, you build the trust and the respect. So yeah, it is a challenge. And for me that I started from scratch without other, colleagues from previous and past companies, I really started from scratch. And so that I think was the main challenge.
What about you, Judith?
So now I work with two, let's say, groups. I work with teenagers and there I do coaching and facilitating as well. And there are events where I can connect the teenagers with companies or for example, where we do hackathons. And I also work with companies where it's more about leadership coaching and workshops. And there it's like facilitating how we think together. Because for me, this is what is fascinating, that I think the world needs teamwork, and we haven't yet figured out how to nail it. And I think when I met facilitators and I have been to some workshops, I was like, oh my God, like, how do they do this? This is working. And that's when I wanted to learn all these things. And there are so many things in it. So that's something what I love. And well, Lucrezia said already the freedom. So I think one of the best things is the freedom. And next to that, I would say that, like you keep on learning. I learned so interesting things every workshop. For example, I was facilitating a workshop where there were journalists and they were having some climate experts. And it was very important to see what belongs to climate change and what are the reasons, and when they state something, like, is it correct or not? So we were facilitating a workshop and I was just sitting there and I was like, oh my God, I'm learning so much, so many interesting things. And then the challenges, well, there are general challenges with facilitation, that it's kind of like a new way of like it's a new profession,
Working.
let's say. I think it's new work. And I think in Hungary there are like maximum 10 people who call themselves facilitators. So in Hungary I don't really have people who I could learn from or who could mentor me. So generally I think that's challenging. And then there are a lot of personal challenges, right? That for me it was very challenging to see what is it that I want to do. Exactly.
I really like that point about learning, because I think actually facilitation, unlike any other facilitators, unlike any other group that I've been a part of, are constantly learning new methods, learning from each other, adapting our way of working. And I really love it. And people are really free with their sharing of support expertise when you can find those networks around you, whether they're in your country or online somewhere else. I really love that point you did.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think there is no community I know personally where people are always ready to help each other, share their tools. Like, it's natural. There is no question about, hey, can you tell me how is your methodology? Or, hey, I have a great resource. Can you? So I think this is the most kind community that I know. We just opened a new community called Fit for Facilitation. I think it was 3 weeks ago. And we already have 300 people there who are already sharing.
Yay!
Yeah, it's so nice. Already sharing all their resources, already having discussion. I had yesterday a call. I was so amazed. This man is from India, 78 years old, in the Fit for Facilitation community, sharing with me his 32 years of facilitation and telling me, Nati, I don't know how to do marketing. And I told him, Ram, you don't need any marketing, because how do you get your clients? I say, yeah, I get my clients since the beginning with words of mouth. But of course, he's in the business since 32 years. Can you imagine? Really?
Yeah.
So nice.
Impressive.
This is also a nice part of becoming freelance, I have to say, because as I was working in corporates as a head of project management, I had my walls, the four walls of the companies, maybe the door to the clients outside, the project managers, the teams. But I had no clue that you can learn so much people outside from the internet world and learn from each other, right?
Yeah, and this point about the marketing is, I think, so spot on as a challenge too, because I think there is one part when I just found myself like, I'm so interested in learning different methods and I wanted to become a very good facilitator. But what gives you the sense of this? Is it going to be the number of clients or certifications? And then I just found out that at one point I was like, do I spend actually enough time on the marketing, and do I talk to the clients? Because I think I was just talking to the experts also on my social media. So I think it's really interesting that he was bringing this up, and I think a lot of us can. Or how is it, girls? How was it for you? I will ask that. Could you relate to the marketing too?
Yeah, I relate this a lot, and there's this question that I don't know if we could find an answer, but it's like sales and delivery. How do you manage sales and delivery, right? Because you have to deliver workshop, you have to work on the projects, but you also need to put the time and effort into the marketing and the sales process. So how do you devise yourself? And also how do you decide where to put your time and energy and effort into it? So it's really a matter of understanding how much time and energy and effort you can put into something or in the other way. But I think that every week, every month for us is very different. So it's really
it really does
and,
change, doesn't it? Like you can go 1 month I'm on it, and the next month it's so busy, it's hard to be on it. But in a way, I had found it initially more of a challenge around how to bring in the values and that side of things into my marketing, because that really matters for the organizations I work in and what drives why I want to do it. And so not wanting to just sell a whole bunch of services for the sake of it, but in the belief that collaboration is how we transform our world. And that's what I want to do. And how you can talk about that in a way that doesn't sound cringy and also doesn't sound like ChatGPT wrote it and sounds like me. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge finding that balance for marketing, both in terms of time to do it and what you want to say.
Yeah. And you came all with all this kind of challenge, and even more, I can remember some of you having a bit of who am I to present myself and be visible and call me an expert. So kind of imposter syndrome. So you came all at the beginning of the summer with all this challenge. And I would like to dive into how we worked on it, or how was it for you to work on it. And I would like to start with Lucrezia and ask you, at this time that you have to come on the Facilipreneur Mastermind and to invest time and money actually in yourself and dedicate time to your own business instead of continuing running from one project to another. I think this is not so easy to take this time off, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's part of our DNA, the learning process, that it's always learning. So for example, I have a goal that for me, like every year I have to take at least a course or masterclass or something to deep dive into a specific topic. So I keep on questioning myself. I keep on pose myself questions, and I'm always very open and curious, but I think that this mastermind was spot on, like, because after 10 years of doing what I do, I really needed the time to have a more structured thinking and reflection. As one of our designing principles is go slow to go fast, I really felt that I needed to really allow myself to stop and to take the time to actually say, okay, put into words what is my expertise, what I do, what I love to do, what I do not want to do. So it was really precious this time to really step back and also give yourself the time to reflect on, as we were talking about marketing and communication, right? Like, how do you communicate? Because there's a lot of people doing facilitation or similar work. So what are the elements that define your practice? Why are you different from others? And what can you help your clients with? So it was really important to step back, understand the expertise, and put into the right words so that it's easier then to communicate it with the rest.
Yeah. What would you say was the biggest takeaway of these 3 months? Because 3 months is long. I mean, 3 months every week, not only the live session, but also you had the homework and you had holidays, you had a lot of things, but I think you didn't miss one session, right? You were here every Monday. What made you continue to come? And what was the biggest takeaway?
Big takeaway was really this clarity on who I am as a professional, and really the wording. I think that was important for me. Also be more conscious that I have to communicate, because if I don't communicate, I don't exist, right? So also to have in mind a more strategic process. And so this was very important. And also the fact that to do this with other colleagues, that we all come from different backgrounds, we have different expertise, different stories, but the collective intelligence, like being together and really helping each other and supporting each other. And sometimes you do this, so you give for granted many things, but then someone else in front of you that maybe doesn't know you very much, but it's like, you know what? I'm feeling this. I'm seeing this. So he's also helping and supportive in discovering new things and make it also more clear to you and really help you grow. So I think that was a gift. Yeah. So thank you.
Our need to clarify things with each other and the questions we asked each other, I think in turn helped us clarify what we were trying to say, because while we might be familiar with each other's what we do, we don't know each other's work, as Lucrezia says. And so by being able to have questions asked of us, it helped clarify things and helped us also work out where something was very much our market and we didn't need to go further in trying to clarify it, but where actually certain things weren't coming across to people. And it was such a good interaction back and forth between us and you and Lena. Yeah, it was great.
Some points I was really wondering, why am I here actually? Because you loved so much to go in the breakout rooms and to to work with each other. But what was very interesting in the group is, as we said just before, people starting since 1 year, freelancing, others since 10 years, also from completely different fields. So I can remember you, Rosemary, starting to talk about the area you're working in and with your own jargon that only you were understanding. So it means that the colleague, Lucrezia, Judit, Lina, Line, they had to ask you more questions so that you simplify the way you are talking about your work, because not everybody and not all your clients maybe would understand what you are saying.
Completely. And I think you could really see it for all of us. And I think in a lot of them, me having to clarify what I meant by campaigning and advocacy and who I work with and that change. I think Lucrezia, all of us really wanting to get to more to understand what the MG Taylor approach was and understand that and how that design thinking. I feel like we got to learn more about that and Judit, how it really linked in to the coaching and how you approach those relationships. Like it made us interrogate ourselves a little bit more and interrogate how we talk about our work, which I think is really important to have that kind of sounding board of, look at all those blank faces that don't know what I'm saying, realizing where we needed to simplify it more.
Apropos, Rosemary, I really saw you change completely from, I don't know how I can make myself visible, to, hey, I'm here and I'm doing this. So it was completely changed. I have the feeling you had a great transformation. Can you tell us how it was at the beginning and then how it came to it?
So I think it definitely was a huge transformation for me. And I think too, I was really ready for it. I just didn't know how to do it. Hence me messaging you, I think 24 hours before it began of, oh my God, do you still have space? Can I please join? And I think to begin with, I had 3 real fears. One, that who on earth am I to position myself as having any expertise in this? 2, what do I actually have to say? Like in terms of promoting myself on LinkedIn, I don't have enough to say. How do you post? People say post regularly. And I'm like, what do I have to say that, I'm not going to be able to do that. And also actually saying what I do in a way that for my audience, and it's not what I'd say to you, it's not what I'd say to somebody on the side of the street, but to people that I work with, how I explain my work to them. And I really, on those 3 things, I almost didn't know where to start, which meant I didn't know how to post on LinkedIn. I couldn't do my website. I tripped over my own tongue if someone asked me to explain what I did. And that time over the summer. And for me, it was the fact that it was spaced out helped me a lot, because I like to go away and reflect and think about the questions and work on it and have someone sense check it like a sounding board. Really shifted that quite a lot for me. And I think ultimately there was one really big breakthrough, which sounds ridiculous now that I say it, because everyone says it. Everyone knows that you're supposed to tailor your stuff to your audience, right? We all tailor our stuff to your audience, except what I realized partway through was since going freelance and trying to expand my network, my LinkedIn and all my socials had exploded with facilitators who were pitching who I was their audience, other facilitators. They're trying to sell their training services or things to other facilitators. And I kept comparing, I don't have, they say it better. What can I do? There's already plenty of voices. And at one stage, there was one week, I think it was our second or third week in, where it clicked. And I realized I'm not trying to sell stuff to facilitators. I'm trying to work with organizations, campaigners, policy advocates, and I have been one of them. I know that world, and I stopped trying to talk like a facilitator to them and instead started talking as a campaigner, an advocate, someone that brings people together about different ways we can do that and how it affects our ability to create change. And that shift for me in seeing that my audience isn't facilitators, it's campaigners, it was like bursting the floodgates of, oh my God, that means I have all of this to talk about. I have all of this expertise. And it kind of allowed me to come out of my shell, which, as most people know, it's not like I'm a wallflower or anything. But when I am nervous, I do tend to hold back. And so it really did. It was a great 3 months for me. And I loved the fact that it was over 3 months, actually. It gave me that time to reflect, think, put stuff into place and not wait to get it perfect. I really took that approach with it of we would do something one week, I would get it as good as I could, get feedback on it, and then it went out live. Instead of constantly trying to go, oh, I haven't quite got it there. And I've updated it as we've gone. And yeah, I'll stop there because once you get me going, I'm never going to shut up.
We were working on the second session on how to build a sentence with there were a great exercise that I love to do every time with a lot of different verbs, a lot of different adjectives, a lot of different way to build a sentence, to talk for yourself first about your expertise, to try to really sharpen what you are doing. And then we start to talk about storytelling, content creation. I think I gave the example that I talked a lot about facilitation and also I have the podcast. So I gain through this another audience, but actually most of my communication is not done on LinkedIn when I work for organizations. So if you want to work with organizations, you need to talk the language of the client you are targeting and not the contrary. So, and I saw you like click. And in these 3 months, I think after 4 weeks, you had your power profile on LinkedIn completely reset. You had thousands ideas for content. You made your website also. I think it was before the end of the Facilipreneur. Crazy. It was so crazy. And we had this nice WhatsApp community group where you could exchange. And I love to see, hey, I have done that. What do you think about that? So it was really, really, really great.
It was really great. And a lot of those ideas and that seeing people continue to post in the WhatsApps also been nice that it's not just ended.
So I will make a spoiler here that the WhatsApp group will be moved into a circle community so that even if new people are coming, you can continue to work with each other like a little community in the Fit for Facilitation community. So it will be a special channel for all people working with me. And so that I keep you not so far away from me because I really miss our calls every Monday. And apropos, someone that I keep with me since I think the beginning of the year, Judith. We've been working together since January, right?
Yes. I remember I was in Paris and we had our first call.
And I was in Bali. You were in my country and I was in Bali. Yes, I can remember. We start to work together for 3 sessions over 2 months, I think. Yes. And then even though you decided to join the Facilipreneur Mastermind and you flourish also like Rosemary, the change from beginning 2025 to now has been huge. And I think one of the things that have completely changed is also the way you show up. but also the way you talk about yourself, reach out actively to clients. This is something new, but tell me more about that.
Where should I start? I think in January, I was like at the place, I think I had a lot of doubts about whether the direction is good. And, like, I think it's still quite new in the world that you do two things at the same time. So I work as a coach and a facilitator. And I was like, I don't know, is this good? Like, should I go for one? Which is better for me? And then I think you helped me a lot with also just being like, you can do both. And I had a lot of questions. And in the beginning, when we had our one-on-one sessions, that you had very good questions. And I think a lot of things I already started to do. So for example, I started to organize a meetup for HR professionals and companies because and it's still going on. So we will have one next week. Yeah. And and now I'm talking to them and I understand their language. And I think in January, I was just afraid a little bit. Everything seemed so big. Like, oh my God, how do I start it? There is this point in businesses and also freelancer journeys when you have a lot of sales which are inbound. So you just get the projects and then another one, and you don't really need to do a lot of things for it. And I think I was at the point, this inflection point when, okay, I also don't have many projects, but I think this is the time to define what is it that I want to do and how. And it was a really big question. And I realized I need help with it. So step by step, we started in January. And then I saw that, okay, there were already some answers and there was clarity. But I also felt I need more time with you. And also it was really good to have like 3 bodies in this process. Because, whenever we ask the question from ourselves, actually that was also an inspiration for the other person to dig deeper. So whenever, like Rosemary, when you were thinking about, okay, how to position, what is the word to say, I also caught myself like, okay, so how is this going for me? Or when I saw Lucrezia, like I loved it, how you were devoted to this methodology. And I was also asking myself a lot, like, so how is my relationship to methodologies and, which do I want to go with or what is it that is mine? Or how can I say it that, okay, this is the backbone. So, and it helped me a lot. Plus, I think in this process, like, these tiny feedbacks when you reflected back something to me, which I haven't seen, like gradually it helped me to build up also this confidence.
I really like that point about learning from each other's struggles as well. Like, so it wasn't just about us, the direct engagement, but hearing feedback that you'd get on something or a question that you're struggling with really did prompt, I think, a lot of us to then go, yes, that, and a different way of learning that I hadn't quite thought about not just from each other directly, but from watching and listening to your conversations and the questions that arose. Lots of learning there.
Yeah. And I learned also from you that the goal of a mastermind is not that I deliver everything, but exactly this. Again, the collective intelligence, like let the magic happen. I mean, I don't have the magical solution, but I can say what worked for me or what didn't work for me, but let the group dynamic. And I think we had a really, really good group dynamic. And this is very important to build a group where people are fitting together. But I have another question to Judith. I can remember that you were not so comfortable to really reach out to the people. And I think there were a shift here also how you are talking. I think you use every occasion now to start to talk or to ask questions. Or can you tell me more about that?
Yes. So I think you gave me a lot of examples how you did it. And then it was much easier to reproduce it. And like I told a lot of examples also when we had the coaching or when we had the coaching with Lina and you. And I think that's something what I loved in the way how you facilitate, Nati, that you just go where the person is and then you are either asking questions or you are helping with examples, but it's clear what to do. What's the next step? So I could just start doing it, even though I was not super confident, but I was like, okay, I understand what I need to do. I am a little bit nervous that I'm going to call 5 people and I'm going to have an interview with them. I called CEOs and I talked to people like HR managers, and I just had enough from you to give it a try, because I know that my learning is my responsibility, of course, in the end. But like, you gave me these small tools, and I also really love that, like, I learned it that I brought in a lot of challenges. And every time there was a challenge, you just started to ask a question. And you were like, oh, okay. And what would it be if you did this or this or that? And then I started to adapt this mindset. And I was like, okay, why am I so stuck with my challenges? This is not a challenge. And I think now I have it, my inner Nati as well in me. And I'm like, okay, what would Nati ask? And it's easier to solve.
So thank you so much. I could speak with you for hours, but what would you say would be the biggest impact that it had on your business after the Facilipreneur Mastermind, which was over in August? It means it's now 3 months from now. What would you say have changed since then for your business?
I mean, I know we're supposed to be pithy and fast, but it's a really big question and it's hard to like break it down to one thing, like confidence to talk about my work, to be able to talk about myself and what I can offer.
Yeah, I agree with that. Gaining more clarity on how to communicate ourselves. So yeah, be more confident. I agree. And also have a plan. I mean, we always have plans, but like have probably more clarity on your plan. So the idea of you need to put time and effort into communicating and on LinkedIn, building a website, and all of this. So probably, yeah, to be more rounded and to have a more like kind of overview
And a process
idea of and a process. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And the direction. So for example, for me, it helped a lot that we talked about the signature offers, because I think I was the facilitator who was running after projects, and now I'm more like, all right, what are my signature offers? And one is developed, one is in progress. I don't know, just like show a lot of things. Like last week we did, I already showed to Nati, and I think Lucrez, you too, and Rosemary, I will send you, but we did a website shooting, and I think it's just crazy creative. And like, this, it's, I think a lot of answers arrived to me through this. And it's much, so it's, like I worked on me and on the business. So it's much easier to communicate. It's much easier to make decisions now. And I think I use my time much better. I have priorities. I also know who to ask for help. And for example, one more thing that I really love is like we also teamed up a little bit with Lucrezia, and we are looking now at what conferences we want to do, maybe to go to the workshops. So we are conference buddies and
conference buddies.
Like, and you don't need to be alone. So it's like, I think this is a takeaway as well, that I'm not alone and I now know how to do it.
That's such a good takeaway. We're not alone. And I completely 100% best takeaway from both the experience and after. We're not alone. And that's a really good one you did.
Oh, thank you so much, Rosemary. I saw also that you teamed up with someone that I really know really good. Angel. Hi, Angel, if you see us.
Yeah. Oh, I loved working with her. She's wonderful.
Yeah. She's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to each of you for your trust first, for reaching out and spending the time with me and Lina, for the courage also to talk about the struggles you had and to come into the podcast. To my dear listeners, you will have the great pleasure to meet Judit, Lucrezia and Rosemary on the 17th of December during the live class happening called 5 Mistakes Even Established Freelance Facilitators Make and How to Avoid Them. It's a chance for you to pause for 1 hour, reflect and set yourself up for a strong and sustainable 2026 with the tips and the tools that we use to grow and sustain our business. You'll find the registration link in the show notes. And of course, there is the Santa gift I told you related to the next edition of the Facilipreneur Mastermind, which will start on the 12th of January 2026. So I wish you until then a nice time, good health, happiness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nati.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks. See you
And
again
hope-
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, see you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.